Nicknamed the Circle, this prison doesn't just house criminals, it contains nightmares. From spree killers and gangland hitmen to the real-life Aussie Escobar, Goulburn Supermax is where Australia locks away its darkest secrets. But here's the chilling twist. Some of these men still run criminal networks from behind bars. Why are these monsters still a threat? And who is the most dangerous man inside Australia's toughest prison? Stick around. What you'll hear next will shock you. Today, we're taking a look at 10 of the most dangerous individuals incarcerated inside this maximum security fortress, including spree killer Malcolm George Baker, triple murderer Michael Cannon, and Australia's once most wanted man, Malcolm Naden. Welcome to Crime Cipher, your gateway to the untold stories of the underworld. If you're obsessed with gritty, suspense-driven true crime breakdowns like this, tap that subscribe button, smash the like, and drop your theories in the comments. We bring you spine-chilling criminal profiles, real footage, reenactments, and cases Australia doesn't want you to remember. New videos every single week. Don't miss what we uncover next. 10. Seth Gonzales. Seth Gonzales is serving a life sentence for the brutal murders of his father Teodoro Gonzales, his mother Mary Lover Gonzales, and his sister Claudine Gonzales in 2001. After the killings, Gonzales tried to stage a hate crime by spraying racist graffiti on the walls, hoping to throw off the investigation. He then showered, changed clothes, and went into Sydney's central business district to eat and play video games, pretending nothing had happened. Gonzales even attempted to claim his inheritance and pawned his mother's jewelry, but police found spray paint on his clothes matching the graffiti and uncovered internet searches on his computer related to poisons and toxic plants, connecting them to symptoms reported in his family. He was arrested by Strikeforce Tower detectives on June 13, 2002, and later identified as a pathological liar. His appeals have consistently failed, with the most recent one dismissed in March 2021. The case was so shocking that it led to a legal reform in New South Wales, requiring disclosure of events that could significantly affect property values. 8. Malcolm Naden. Once labeled Australia's most wanted man, Malcolm Naden was a fugitive for over 7 years before his dramatic capture in March 2012. His crimes ranged from murder to sexual assault and breaking and entering. Authorities placed a $50,000 bounty on his head. Naden murdered Christy Scholes and later her boyfriend's cousin, and was repeatedly spotted at locations like the Western Plains Zoo and Lightning Ridge, sparking intense manhunts. Police finally located him hiding in a remote cabin 30 kilometers west of Gloucester. He was captured in a nighttime raid by the Tactical Operations Unit and pleaded guilty to 18 charges, including the attempted murder of a police officer and indecent assault of a 12-year-old girl. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. 7. Lindsay Robert Rose. Born as Lindsay Robert Lehman on May 2, 1955, in North Sydney, New South Wales, Lindsay Robert Rose grew up in the western suburbs of Sydney. He became a licensed private investigator in 1979. However, his descent into violent crime began in 1984 when he murdered Edward Kavanagh and Kavanagh's girlfriend at their home in Hoxton Park, Sydney. 3 years later, in 1987, Rose broke into the home of wealthy businessman William Graff and fatally assaulted Graff's wife, Renette. In 1994, he shot and killed Fatima Ozanal, and shortly afterward, both shot and stabbed Carrie Pang at Pang's massage parlor in Gladesville. 6. John Raymond Travers. Raised in Mount Druitt, a suburb of Blacktown in Sydney, John Raymond Travers had a deeply troubled upbringing. By age 13, he was already using marijuana, and by 14, he was a full-blown alcoholic. Known for extreme violence and regularly carrying a knife, Travers quickly developed a long criminal record. Police and courts frequently reprimanded him during his teenage years. On February 2, 1986, Travers and 4 accomplices stole a Holden Kingswood, which they later used to abduct and brutally murder Anita Lorraine Lynch. The Supermax blueprint: why this prison exists. Before we count down the top 5, let's pause to understand what makes Goulburn Supermax not just a prison, but a containment strategy. It was built for inmates who are too violent, too dangerous, or too influential to be managed anywhere else. The High-Risk Management Unit is equipped with soundproof cells, 24/7 surveillance, and motion sensor lighting. Even lawyers must meet inmates behind triple-layer glass. But here's what most people don't know. Some of these men are still pulling strings on the outside, controlling drug routes, issuing threats, even filming rap music videos. So ask yourself, is Australia's most secure prison really secure? Drop a comment and tell us what you think. 5. Mark Valera continued. The murder of David O'Hearn was described by police as one of the most horrific crime scenes they had ever witnessed. Investigators even explored the possibility of connections to a satanic cult due to the ritualistic nature of the killing. Just 2 weeks later, a second murder occurred, this time at the home of Frank Arkell, a former member of the New South Wales State Parliament. 4. Bilal Khazal. Formerly a Qantas baggage handler at Sydney Airport, Bilal Khazal was sentenced to 14 years in prison with a non-parole period of 9 years after being found guilty of knowingly producing material linked to aiding a terrorist attack. Khazal was also a prominent figure in the Islamic youth movement in Australia and had been listed in a CIA report as an active member of Al-Qaeda. It was alleged that he had received training from the Taliban as early as 1998, though eligible for release in 2017 after serving his non-parole period.
3. Mostafa Baluch. Nicknamed the Aussie Escobar, Mostafa Baluch became the subject of a 17-day nationwide manhunt after he allegedly cut off his electronic ankle monitor and fled while awaiting trial. Authorities eventually located him, hidden in a car inside a shipping container. Baluch was facing charges related to an alleged attempt to import over 900 kilograms of cocaine into Australia, a multi-million-dollar international drug smuggling operation. 2. Leslie Camilleri. Leslie Camilleri was convicted for his role in one of Australia's most notorious child murder cases. In 1997, together with co-offender Lindsay Beckett, Camilleri abducted and murdered 14-year-old Lauren Margaret Barry and 16-year-old Nicole Emma Collins. The girls were held and tortured for over 12 hours before being killed. 1. Malcolm George Baker. Responsible for one of the most brutal spree killings in Australian history, Malcolm George Baker committed what became known as the Central Coast Massacre. His rampage began at the apartment of his ex-girlfriend Kerry Gannon, then continued to Bateau Bay, where he killed his 27-year-old son David, and ended at the home of Ross Smith. Using a sawed-off Remington 12-gauge double-barrel shotgun, Baker murdered 6 people, most of whom were either relatives or acquaintances he held personal grievances against. After the spree, he calmly walked into the Toukley police station, surrendered, and handed over the weapon used in the killings. You've just seen inside the minds of Australia's most dangerous men. But this is just the beginning. The underworld doesn't end at prison gates, and the crimes we've uncovered today are just a fraction of what's lurking in the shadows. Don't forget to subscribe to Crime Cipher for more jaw-dropping stories, exclusive deep dives, and criminal conspiracies from Australia and beyond. And while you're here, watch our next video on the brutal Zakaria hit and Sydney's deadliest gangland war. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.